Truth. My name is John Singletary.
And I'm Ramon Roan.
Today we're going to be talking about why federal prisons are getting out of the private prison business that they never should have been in to start with. When we talk about private prisons, we talk about the United States, 320 something million people. We incarcerate about 10% of our population. Why do we have as many people incarcerated as just about as all people who live in the state of South Carolina?
In fact, the United States,
over 3 million people.
Yeah, of all the people worldwide in prisons, we got 25% of them in ours.
Yeah,
25%.
but we don't have, in terms of population, the largest country.
No, we sure don't. Sure don't.
Just think of Japan. China. Think of the number of people.
We got more people in our prisons than China has in theirs.
Profit, but when you to locking someone up, then what happens is people are locked up unjustly for all kinds of reasons. In order to maintain profit, justice is thrown to the side in lieu of making money. And we all know that the Constitution, it allows slavery within the penal system.
Sure does.
And so it's another way of making money on those who are in prison, and we happen to be the largest sector.
One of the reasons why the federal government decided to reduce or get away with leave private prisons was because of there's less people in prison in federal prisons. Matter of fact, it went from 220,000 to 195,000. So there's less need for the private prisons. But along with that, there's some things that the private prison wasn't able to do. One of the things that, John, when we first heard about prisons, growing up, you think about prison was for a corrective act, to rehabilitation. We want to be able to rehabilitate your job training, whatever. But those things are not happening in the private prison because as a private prison, it's about they're trying to. And you think about this, you're going to bring in training for these inmates. It costs money for that.
Sure.
And they're looking at how much money they cost for every prisoner to house and how much money they're actually receiving.
On the federal level, almost $60,000 a year.
That's right.
And the way the contracts were set up is that they guaranteed so much, whether you had one prisoner or full capacity. Many of them paid for full capacity. I remember one of the first movies that I saw that dealt with prisons was Sounder. Paul Winfield,
right.
And how he had to go to prison for stealing a ham. It not only changed his life, but it changed everybody's life in his family. So the reach of imprisoning our people, particularly when it's unjust, it permeates the entire community. And when we consider with the prisons, oftentimes now they sell that labor out to businesses, out to companies, so that the companies get cheap labor, the prisons make a little money. In this case, a lot of African American families are destroyed. Not just African American families, but they're destroyed, and all for what? Greed and profit.
Right.
And it's sad because when we consider the fact that the private prisons don't always provide what they claim they can. Security is not as good.
Nope.
When it comes to
more assaults happen.
More assaults. The nutrition gets worse.
Right, exactly.
When we take a look at the fact that they claim that they're more secure, that there's going to be less breakouts, there's going to be less inmate injuries, and all of the statistics.
According to this report, private institutions confiscated twice as many weapons and 8 times more cell phones, and had higher rates of assaults, both inmate on inmate 28% and inmate on staff, double the violence. So private prisons was an issue, and because it's profit driven, and they're not going to provide the same level of service that your federal prisons provide.
Because your goals are different.
That's right.
In one, it may be penal, to take the person off the street, not trying to provide a service to the public. Some of them rehabilitation, but when it comes to the private prisons, it's all about money.
Right.
And the bottom line is that they're going to do what's necessary.
Here's some fact sheets about the criminal justice system. Today, the U.S. is 5% of the world's population, but has 25% of the world's prisoners. According to Unlocking America, the African American and Hispanics were incarcerated if they were incarcerated at the same rate as whites, today's prison and jail populations would decline by 50%.
Wow.
1 out of 6 black men had been incarcerated as of 2001. If current trends continue, 1 in 3 blacks born today can expect to spend time in prison before his lifetime.
Wow.
That is a wow. And well, I think that addressing the economics problem in our community, the black community, and even the Hispanic community, we can address also the prison recidivism rate. Many of these prisoners that get out, they don't have an income, they don't have a job, and they end up going back into jail. I think in some areas it's like 40-some-odd percent.
Recidivism is extremely high for our people that get out of prison. If we had an economic structure that would allow them to be mainstreamed, then there would be less recidivism, as well as there would be less people going to prison to start with for the first time. And so when we have a community that does not understand that economic empowerment that allows for community independence, that allows for mutual respect when you sit at the bargaining table if you so choose to, then we're missing the point. That is, in America.
John, I like the slogan, unity in the community. Come up for the next campaign. I think that it was in 1940. You know what the unemployment rate for blacks in 1940 was? 4%. 4%. We have much more businesses, but 4%. I mean, the real unemployment rate today, when we're looking at it for our young people, is like 50-some-odd%. But could you imagine 4% unemployment? 4% unemployment rate is that those 4% that are unemployed, they're probably going in between jobs and say, look here, I'm not going to work anymore.
Right.
But we need to be able to provide jobs for these young men. One is preventative for them not to go to jail, and also if they go to jail, they'll be able to have a job. And so that means that we need to have more black businesses, and so we can have more black, hire more black people, especially our young men. Well, we do appreciate you listening and watching this YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like, and share. You can follow us on Facebook, on our channel on Facebook. You can also check me out on Twitter. I also do some of these facts that I'll share on Twitter. But we do appreciate you subscribing. You can subscribe right here, and we hope to see you again. This has been another edition of The Naked Truth.